How you doing? Yes. Yeah, inshallah. Yeah. Yeah. We got 2 minutes, so. Any questions before we get started? Private question.
My mom wants to see your chicken before your wife goes away. I'm just relaying you the message.
Okay, sure.
Possible? Send her or take her.
Okay, we'll try it, sure. Okay. Any non-private questions? Any questions about the class? Yes. It was posted the night before. Yeah. You didn't see it? It was the night before. Yeah. Yeah, we'll always give you 24 hours, inshallah, at least, if not more. Any other questions before we begin? Any complaints? Yeah, no complaints. Oh yeah, inshallah. So, Maghrib is at what time today? 41. So, you want it at 41? Yeah, so at 41 is good because we pray at 51. Enough? Yeah, inshallah. So somebody remind me. 40, inshallah, remind me. Inshallah. Okay, is it? Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Let's begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah wa ba'd. So welcome to class number 2 of Arabic. Class number 3, chapter number 2, right, of Arabic. This is the new vocabulary for our chapter today. You notice that they're adjectives rather than nouns. So we learned nouns last time, adjectives. We'll learn what they are, but these are the words. First one is, you can repeat with me, kabir, which means big or large. It can also mean great. So big or large, if you say, like, for example, this house is kabir, it means the house is large. The pen, al-qalamu kabir, the pen is large. If you say great, you can say that, this man is great, meaning he's great as a person. So that semicolon means different type of meaning. So one meaning for kabir is something is large or big as an object. But the second meaning is something is great or magnificent. Something is really amazing. And the third meaning is kabir is used for old in terms of age. So if you say this person is kabir, it can also mean that they're referring to the person is advanced in age, meaning they're old in age. Okay, and this is generally the way that we use these words. So three meanings here. Then saghir. Repeat, saghir. Yes, so that can mean small, opposite of kabir in terms of size, and it can also mean young in age. If you say when a person is saghir, you mean the person is young, right? Not always small. Someone can be large, but they're young. Someone can be small, but they're great. Or someone can be small in size, but they're advanced in age. So just all of this is contextual. The next one is tawil. Tawil. Okay, tawil means long. So something can be long, like the pen is long, the qalam is long, tawil. Or it can also mean tall. So a person is tawil, means the person is tall, or something like that. So it can mean long or tall. The opposite of that is qasir, short. Okay, short. Ba'id, far or distant. Something is far or distant, you say ba'id. Qareeb, something is near or close, opposite of far. Jadid, new. So if something is new, you say jadid. But remember, you don't use jadid for someone who's young, right? And likewise, the word qadim, say qadim, qadim means old or ancient, something that's really old or ancient, but we don't use this term to refer to people in terms of their age. So you don't say, man, this guy is qadim. No, if you want to say this person is old, you say this guy is kabir. So you say kabir for age, and qadim is usually used for objects. Or if someone's been a student for a very long time, you it's old student. But you're not talking about the person in terms of their age is qadim. That's like almost, imagine you say, you know what, oh, this guy, he's very ancient. You would not use that, right? So just think about the word ancient. That's kind of what it is. You wouldn't use that for people. And the next one is thaqil. Thaqil. Okay, heavy or weighty. Something is heavy or something is weighty, meaning it's heavy can mean physically heavy. It's got a lot of weight. Or it could also mean weighty in the sense that it has a lot of substance, right? Or it's something very important. You can say it's weighty. Khafif, light, something light in terms of its weight, so opposite of heavy, right? Then we have Muslim, which is Muslim, right? Literally, Muslim means it means someone who submits. But Muslim, we know as a Muslim, submits themselves to Allah, so that's what Muslim is. And then the opposite is kafir, unbeliever. Unbeliever. Literally, it means someone who covers something up. But kafir refers to an unbeliever, and it's applied usage. The next word, da'if. Da'if means weak. Means weak. Okay? And then qawi, strong or mighty. And notice the shadda here, qawi. So you hold that down. If you were going to add a tanween, you would say not qawiyun, you say qawiyun. You hold that shadda, qawiyun. Okay, so these are the vocabulary. These are the words that we're going to be, the adjectives that we're going to be memorizing and using in this chapter. And then some other words which we're going to learn how to use them. One of them is hal. Hal. Don't say hal, just hal. Is or are. It's a question word. You make questions out of it. The other one is same meaning. Is or are, you make questions out of them. The next one is la, which means no. La means no. And na'am means yes. So very important words, no and yes. La and na'am. And lastly, wa. Wa means end. Wa means end. So we're going to learn how to use all of these in this chapter today, if Allah wills. So let's start with the first thing that we need to learn. That's the definite article. So the definite article, what's known as al, right? We're going to talk about what that means. So basically, you take the two letters, alif and lam, and you add them to the beginning of a noun whenever you want to give it a definite meaning. So what's an example of a noun that we learned so far? A noun. Bait, right? And bait means house, right? Bait means house. So if we want to make the word bait indefinite, which we learned how to do, how do you say a house? Baytun. So you just add a un at the end, right? So if we want to change that from a house to the house, so that it has a definite meaning, we add this alif lam at the beginning of the word bait, which we're going to see how to do it. When you add the alif lam, it also makes the word lose its tanween. So baytun, you lose the tanween and you get left only the vowel that was there. So if baytun had two dhammas at the end, if you took away the tanween, what are you left with? You're left with one dhamma. So you get baytu. So let's take a look at how that works. This is the original word. Bayt means house. This is how we memorize the vocabulary. Bayt means house. If you want to make the word bayt indefinite, you say baytun and you get a house. That we know. If you want to make it the house, you add al, alif lam, and then there's a fatha on here. You say al baytu. So you see how this tanween, these two dhammas here, tanween goes away and you're left with one dhamma. So you get al baytu. two. So now let's follow the same principle. What's another noun that we learned besides the word bayt? Huh? Rajul? Hajar. Okay, hajar. So the word hajar means rock. How do you say a rock? You do exactly what this hajarun, a rock. How do you say the rock? Al-hajaru. Exactly. What's another noun that we learned? Qalam. Okay, so the word qalam means pen. How do you say a pen? Qalamun. So just keep looking at the example. Qalamun. You add the un at the end. How do you say the pen? Al-qalamu. Exactly. What's another word we learned? Walad. What does walad mean? Boy. How do you say a boy? Waladun. How do you say the boy? Al-waladu. Exactly. What's another word we learned? Bab. So what does bab mean? Door. How do you say a door? Babun. How do you say the door? Al-babu. Got it? Easy, right? Okay, we got it. Let's move on. Alright. It's important to note that this alif in the word al, in the letters al that we're adding, it's actually a wasla. Remember wasla, hamzatul wasl? And it had these complicated rules that you're skipping and all of that. So go back to your notes from the first day of class if you don't remember what it was. Alright, so this alif is a hamzatul wasl or wasla. And therefore you skip over it when you're pronouncing it every time it's preceded by a vowel. Whenever there's a vowel before this al, you're going to skip over the alif when you're pronouncing the word. So let's take a look at it as an example. And also, whenever you have a long vowel, it's going to be pronounced short when it's followed by a letter with the sukoon. I'll show you the examples here. Take a look at this example. In the beginning of the word, you say al-baytu. What does al-baytu mean? The house, right? So we just saw that al-baytu. And how do you say it? You say al-baytu. But if you add a waw before it and you say wa, and you're trying to read this, you do not say wa al-baytu. Why? Because here's the rule. Go back to the rule. See the alif? This shouldn't click on it. The alif in al. See this alif here, and this alif right here, and this alif right here. It's actually a wasla. Wasla means that you're gonna only pronounce it with the fatha that it has here if it's in the beginning of the sentence. So when you're saying al-baytu, this wasla is at the beginning. When you say wa, and if you want to say al-baytu, there's a wa begin. This alif is not at the beginning of the sentence. What's at the beginning of the sentence? The waw. So now that a waw has come into play, you are not going to pronounce this wa al-baytu. What you're going to do instead is you're going to skip this alif completely, as if it didn't have this, as if it didn't exist. And you're going to read the lam with the sukoon, and you're going to say wal baytu. Wal baytu. Okay? So let's take a second example here. If we change al baytu to walad, the boy would be, how would we say the boy? Al waladu. Okay? If we add a wa before that, how would we pronounce that word? Wal waladu. So the rule, this rule right here basically says that whenever you have alif lam and you have a vowel preceding it. So see this alif? What precedes it? There's a vowel right there. What's the vowel? Fatha. That vowel will automatically cause you to skip over this alif and connect to the lam, and you say wal. Here, see the alif? Is there a vowel preceding it? There is no vowel before it. Therefore, you're going to say al-baytu. Because the rule was you can never start a word with two consonants in a row. We talked about that one, right? So, wal-baytu, al-baytu, and wal-baytu. You're going to see why this is important later on. Just remember that. There's another thing you need to learn, and that is long vowels. Remember long vowels, a, u, and e? They're pronounced short whenever it's going to be followed by a letter which has a sukoon. So let me explain what that means. What is this word right here? How do you pronounce this word right here? Haza, right? Haza, which means this. So haza, at the end of haza, this alif preceded by a fatha is called a what kind of vowel? A long vowel. That za, it's a long vowel. So ha, long vowel as well. Za, ha, za. So this za is a long vowel. What happens is, when you read it by itself, just by itself, you read it ha, za, right? Za. And then if you were to read this, imagine you stopped. You run out of breath. And then you want to start from the beginning. If this is a new word, you would say al-baytu. So when you're reading these two words separately, you would say haza al-baytu. But if you want to read them connectedly in one breath, what you do is this long vowel is going to be pronounced short, meaning pronounced like a short vowel. So you're going to pronounce this like a fatha. Instead of a za, you're going to get ha zal baytu. Hazal baytu. Just like this. Wal baytu, hazal baytu. So this is the way it works. If you're pronouncing in the beginning, you would pronounce this al baytu. There's no other option. If you're going to take a break, let's say you cannot hold your breath at all, and you wanted to read this separately, you would say wa al baytu. But if you can say the whole thing in one breath, you're going to say wal baytu. Same thing with this. If you break them up into two words, right? You're going to say haza al baytu. But when you're talking, right? Do you ever talk like this? Excuse me. This is a man. You don't talk like that. You don't take pauses, right? You say this is a man. You flow the entire sentence. In Arabic, you're going to be saying entire sentences and they're going to flow. So in Arabic, whenever you're flowing, you're trying to say the whole sentence, you connect things together. So you're going to say wal baytu, and you're going to say hadha al baytu. Now if you have a long sentence, you run out of breath, and if you had to stop at a hadha, you can resume it by saying al baytu. But if you're reading it connectedly, you're going to connect it completely, and this long vowel becomes a short vowel. You just say hadha al baytu. Even though you write the alif, it's not pronounced when you're speaking. And you'll get practice with this. The more you see it, don't worry. If you're like, wow, I have to memorize this rule, it's like so weird looking. Don't worry about that. You'll get practice with it. It'll come natural to you. So that's the way the al works so far. Let's take a look at some more examples here. Some more rules. When alif lam, the al, is added to a word which begins with one of the 14 letters near the vocal articulation point of the letter lam, the latter is skipped in pronunciation. Now you probably didn't understand anything of what that meant. Don't worry about it. Instead, a shadda is added to the first letter of the word so that the two letters coalesce. You probably didn't understand any of that either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how it works. So look at this word. This word is rajul, right? What does rajul mean? Man. That we know, right? If you add al to rajul, what would you assume it to be if you did not know this new rule that we learned? You would say al-rajulu, right? Like al-baytu, al-qalamu, you'd say al-rajulu. But al-rajulu is incorrect. Al-rajulu is not correct in Arabic. Why? It's not correct because what the Arabs wanted to do is, see the lam, I want you to put a before the lam and say al. Say al. Al. Now watch where your tongue is. Al. Okay. Now see the letter ra. Say ar. Ar. Now say al. Say ar. How far is your tongue away from the letter lam and the letter ra when you're pronouncing it? Al. Ar. Al. Ar. See, it's pretty close by, right? Now I want you to make an ayn sound and say ar. Okay, and then say al. How far is that? Very far, right? So what the Arabs did was, they say anytime the lam, this alif lam, anytime you have a lam and the following letter, they happen to be near in the mouth, we'll just combine the two together with the shadda, and instead of saying al-rajulu, we'll just combine it and say ar-rajul. It just flows out so much nicer. We say ar-rajulu, right? So we can't do that when the letters are too far in the mouth. But when they're close in the mouth, we'll combine them. So instead of saying al-rajulu, we say ar-rajulu. Okay, what about al-waladu? We said al-waladu, we say al-waladu. Now look at wow. Say aw, and then al. Aw, al. Kind of far, right? Kind of close, but then look at the sound. The aw is being made with your lips coming together and like kind of sticking out. And the l is using your tongue. You're not even using your tongue really when you're making the aw sound, right? So much, it's kind of sticking out. So they're two letters far apart. So whenever they're far apart, you normally say al-waladu, al-babu, al-qalamu, al-kitabu. We got that part down already in the previous slide. Now there are certain letters when they're very close to the lam, like ra. Instead of saying al-rajulu, you say ar-rajulu and you combine it together. So what are those letters? These are the 14 letters that are close to the lam. And you'll pick it up with practice. You don't need to memorize a list. You don't need to memorize them in order and say, okay, I'm going to make an alphabet song out of it. You're not. No one does that, right? You're just gonna get a feel for it. Automatically, you'll know which ones connect. So the first letter is ta. So instead of saying al-teen, you say at-teenu. Not al-teenu, at-teenu. Right? Tha. Instead of saying al-thaqil, you say al-thaqil. Al-thaqil. Dal. Instead of saying al-dunya, you say ad-dunya. Zal. Instead of saying al-dhikru, you say al-dhikru. Ra. Instead of saying al-rajulu, you say al-rajulu. Zai. Instead of saying al-zawju, you say az-zawju. Sin. Instead, clicked on it. Instead of saying al-sa'atu, you say as-sa'atu. Sheen. Instead of saying al-shamsu, you say ash-shamsu. Right? Sad. Instead of saying al-saghiru, you say as-saghiru. As-saghiru. Dad. Instead of saying al-da'ifu, say al-da'ifu. Ta. So we learned talib already, right? So you don't say al-talibu. Even though the UCLA, MSA, they produce a newspaper called Al-Talib. If you've seen that, right? All apologies to the UCLA people. They got it wrong because they forgot to coalesce. It should be Al-Talibu, right? Al-Talibu. So it's not Al-Talib, it's Al-Talibu. Coalesce. The law. Instead of saying Al-Zalimu, say Al-Zalimu. Lam. Instead of lam is automatic, right? Al-Laylu becomes Al-Laylu because lam and lam have the same place. So you put a shadda there. Noon, instead of saying Al-Nabiyyu, An-Nabiyyu. An-Nabiyyu. So these are the 14 letters. In the beginning, while you're getting used to Arabic, you're going to want to keep a little cheat sheet next to you. In case you forget, you're like, oh, does this one have a shadda or it doesn't? Does it coalesce or it doesn't? Keep a little cheat sheet and you can just look up, oh, what's one of those 14 letters? And after maybe a few weeks, you're automatically going to get the feel for it. And you'll know which ones are and which ones are not. And then if someone goes up and starts giving a khutbah or something like that, and they start saying al something, it's totally off, like, oh, al-shamsu. You're going to be like, oh, I can't believe the person said that. Or if the person starts reading Quran and they say, you know, wal-tini was-zaytun, you're going to be like, oh my God, we need to replace this imam. Or something like that. So you're naturally going to get a feel for this, inshallah. And if you need help replacing an imam, let me know. So inshallah, let's move on and do some practice exercises. So 2.1, you're going to read the following out loud to yourself. And obviously, why do you read this out loud? So that you can practice whether you got the shadda coalescing or not. It's for your own benefit. So read it out loud, and then you're going to rewrite it with all the vowels and the signs. That includes the shadda or no shadda. All right? And then you're going to figure out if you got it down or not. So this is a test for you. So just do it a little bit. Whisper to yourself. See if you got, do the first like 4. See if you got it down or not. And if you want, you can translate it or just keep going. So I'll give you a few minutes, inshallah. Alright, quick check on number 1. Number 1 is al-waladu. Good. Number 2, al-babu. Number 1 is the boy. Number 2, al-babu, the door. Good. It's a little bit too easy. Let's go to number 9. Number 9, al-talibu, the student. There we go. So who got all of them right, the ones that you did so far? Okay. All right, so a little practice and you'll get it, inshallah. All right, ready to move on? We need some more time on this. Okay, we're ready to move on. Now it comes from translating into Arabic, making sure to write all of the vowels and signs. Now this will be a better test for you. See if you can get it all down. So go ahead and try a few of these and see if you get them, making sure to write the shaddas when you need to write the shaddas as well. Okay, number 1, the door. Abbabu, al-babu. Good. Al-babu, no shadda. Number 2, the rock. Ahhajaru, al-hajaru. Al-hajaru, the rock. Number 3, the water. Al-ma'u. Number 4, the student. At-talibu. At-talibu. Good. All right, let's move on. The predicate adjective. So this is what's called in Arabic the khabar. It's just the predicate that we learned before, but it's an adjective. So what is an adjective? An adjective is a word that describes a noun. Remember, it's a noun, person, place, thing, or idea. What is an adjective? It's just something that describes that. So like something is big, something is close, strong, far, near, heavy, light. Anything that's describing something else is known as an adjective. So we learned a few adjectives in the beginning of the vocabulary today. And usually and often, there's 2 ways to use an adjective. One of them is to use it as the predicate of a sentence. Now we talked about subject predicate in a nominal sentence, right? So you use it as the predicate of a sentence and it's going to remain indefinite with a tanween. So just look at the example. So you take the word al-qalamu. What does al-qalamu mean? The pen. Al-qalamu means the pen. So you add the word saghirun. So the word saghir means small. You put saghirun with a tanween and you put it in this position and you get al-qalamu saghirun. Right? The pen is small. Right? So remember we said hadha kitabun, hadha qalamun. There's one part of the sentence which is the subject and the second part is the predicate. So the same thing here. Al-qalamu is the subject, saghirun is the predicate. And remember we said before this little rule that the subject is usually definite. Al-qalamu, it's definite. Right? It's referring to something specific. Saghirun or qalamun, a pen, is indefinite. Saghirun is also considered to be indefinite in the sense that it has a tanween. So the pen is small. Al-qalamu saghirun. So this is what we do. We take the adjective, you throw it in the predicate, category, and you still get the word is automatically being placed into the sentence. So let's just take this example, and we make a bunch of other words out of this. So go back and look at your vocabulary list if you have it in front of you from today. All right. Yes. Where is the word this? The word hadha is this. So where's the word this? It's not there. So al means the, right? So al means the. So al-qalamu is the pen. So al-qalamu saghirun, the pen is small. Now all we gotta do is we gotta substitute these words. I want you to look at these examples now that you know them. This is correct example. So change the word qalam to something else. So al-qalamu saghirun. Change qalam, which is a noun, to another noun that you already learned. Al-baytu saghirun, which means the house is small. Okay, pick another one. Someone who did not give me the word bayt. Another person. Hajar. Okay. Al-hajaru saghirun. What does that mean? The rock is small. Someone give me another noun. Rajul. Al-rajulu saghirun. The man is small, or it could also mean the man is young. It can also mean the man is young. Right? Another noun, last one. Qamar. Al-qamaru saghirun. The moon is small. Right? Who really thinks the moon is small? But I guess from a distance you say it's small. Right? Al-qamaru saghirun. So what you do is you could substitute any noun here and you just put the al, you get the same dhamma here, you get the same type of adjective. Now let's take this adjective, right, this predicate here, and substitute it for another adjective. So al-qalamu, give me a different adjective. Tawilun. Al-qalamu tawilun. What does that mean? The pen is long. Another adjective that we learned. Huh? That is saghirun. Thaqilun. Okay. Al-qalamu thaqilun. The pen is heavy. Exactly. Another adjective. Give me an English adjective that we learned from today. Weak. Good. We want to say the pen is weak. How do you say the pen is weak? Al-qalamu da'ifun. Exactly. That's it. So you just look at this example, you could substitute a bunch of words. You could substitute a noun for a noun, an adjective for an adjective, and you can make a bunch of sentences this way. Okay. Let's move on to the second example. Hadha kabirun. This is big. So this is the subject of the sentence. This is the subject, this is the subject. Hadha kabirun. This is the subject, hadha. We could substitute hadha for, what do you think a good substitute for how the word hadha would be? Zalika. So if you say zalika kabirun, what does it mean? That is big. Okay? What about substituting another adjective here? So hadha saghirun. It would mean this is small. Another one. Hadha jadidun. Did we learn jadid? Yes. Jadidun. This is new. That's it. Right. Pretty easy, right? So let's put it into practice. 2.3. Form complete sentences by adding al to the first word if needed making sure to write all the vowels and signs. So you see these two words. I'll give you the first one. You see the word walad, you see the word kabir. You want to make a complete sentence. Do you need to add a al in order to make a complete sentence? Yes, you do. So what do? You add al to the first word. What do you get? Al wala do. What do you write for the second one? Kabiru, kabirun. Exactly. So al waladu kabirun. And the meaning of that would be the boy is big or old or great. It can mean three things depending on the context. So do a few of these. Do number 2, 3, and then do the last two because they're a little bit different. So do the second two and then do the last two. Who needs more time? Okay, keep going. Okay, pause for a moment and let's check, see how we're doing. So number 2, Ahmed, why don't you tell us what you got? Yeah, you add a al and you get al-babu. What? Yeah, this tawilun. Good. Al-babu tawilun. And the meaning is? What does it mean? The door. Tawil is tall or long. So the door is long. Good. Ali, what do you get number 3? Al-ustazu qasiru. Does anyone disagree with his? Besides someone who took the class before. Yes. Took the class before. Yes. Qasirun. Qasirun. So you said qasiru. Why not tanween? You said un? Oh, okay. It sounded like you didn't say it. Even your neighbor thought that. So, okay. Qasirun. Yeah, good. So al-babu, al-ustazu qasirun. What does it mean? The teacher is short. Good. All right, number 13. Who would like to volunteer? Yes. Oh. For the al-ustazu, yeah, you write alif, right, with the hamza. Oh, no, sorry, alif without the hamza. Let me show you how you write it. So, how do you write the word al-ustaz? You write it like this. Al. So remember the lam alif connects together. So that's how you write it. Right? So al-ustaz. So you have to write this lam alif thing. This giant la looking thing. Okay, going back to our slideshow. Number 13. Bushra, why don't you tell me what you have? The 13. هذا ضعيف, which means what? This is weak. That's it. Okay, so very good. So do the rest at home. Most people are getting it pretty good. There was a question that came in. The question was on this slide, what happened to the standing alif on the ha? Remember this ha should be long. Ha, what happened to it? I just didn't write it. But you already know how to pronounce this word, hadha, and you know how to pronounce zalika. Even if I don't write all the vowels, you already know it now. So that's why I'm not writing it. So what happened to it? I felt like not writing it because you already know it. That was the answer to the question. So coming back, we'll take a break now. And if you get extra time, you come back early, you can start translating these into Arabic, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنس ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي
الذي يطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
So at least try to do the first four, inshallah. Who needs more time for the first four? Okay. Who needs more time? Okay, so let's take a look. Number 1, the door is large. Raise your hand if you'd like to share what you wrote down. Yes. Al-babu kabiru. Kabirun. Al-babu kabirun. Who agrees with that answer? Who wrote that down? Al-babu kabirun. Okay, that is the correct answer. And the translation is? That is the translation. Good. Al-babu kabirun. Number 2, the mosque is small. Who would like to share their answer? Yes. Al-masjid saghirun. Al-masjid saghirun. Who agrees with that answer? Okay. Who disagrees? Okay. What is it? Al-masjidu saghirun. Good. Very close. Al-masjidu saghirun. You have to put that extra dhamma there. Number 3, water is heavy. Who would like to volunteer their answer? Someone else who's not taking the class. Yes, number 3. Al-ma'u thaqilun. Who got that? Who agrees? Who disagrees? Disagree? Nobody. Okay, that's the correct answer. Alright, so peer pressure caused everyone to agree. But it is the correct answer. Alright, al-ma'u thaqilun. The water is heavy. Last one, number 4. The student is short. Who would like to take that one? Bismillah. Oh, you're an Arabic speaker. Somebody else. Somebody else. The student is short. Someone who didn't take the class. Bismillah. Al-talibu qasirun. Who disagrees? Al-talibu qasirun. That's correct. Okay, the student is short. Very good. So just take these as homework. Any questions before we move on? Okay. We're making very good progress, by the way. So, the interrogative particle. All right. How many of you have ever heard the word interrogative in your life before? MashaAllah. Interrogative? Where did you? In what context did you hear the word interrogative? Outside of my class. Oh no. Okay. All right. So this is just known as the way to ask a question. Oh, we learned it last week. Is that what it was? No, we didn't learn it last week. Okay. So you just learned it like literally right now? Is that what you mean? You heard it last week. Okay, yeah, you heard it last week. Okay. So the interrogative particle is basically the way to ask a question. Okay, it's a question word, which we already saw. One of them, how did we ask a question? We said, ma hadha, ma dhalika, right? So what is this, what is that? But there's another one. In order to take an equational sentence, and by the way, I've redefined the word, the nominal sentence. It's better to call it an equational sentence. Like this is this, right? Easier to refer to. So to turn an equational sentence into a question, you add this hamza sitting on top of alif. It's with a fatha. Is added to the beginning, right? And note that you write it without a space before the following word, because all one-letter particles in Arabic attach to the following word, which we've seen that before. So let's look at the example. This will make it clear. So this is what we learned. Hadha kitabun. This is a book. Nothing unusual about that. We've already learned this, right? So you just put this little hamza, sitting on top of alif with the fatha. Hadha kitabun. You just gotta change your voice, right? So hadha kitabun. And you want asking a question, you change the tone of your voice and you say hadha kitabun. You're asking a question, right? Change the tone of your voice. If you want, you could throw a question mark, backwards question mark in there. Is this a book? Hadha kitabun, this is a book. Hadha kitabun, is this a book? How would you say this is a pen? Hadha qalamun. How do you say is this a pen? Hadha qalamun. So you write the and then you put space, and then you write hadha. There's no space. Just remember, no space. So you write and then hadha immediately. How would you say, is that a mountain? That. Dhalika jabalun. Jabalun. Dhalika jabalun. Good. How would you say, is this big? Hadha kabirun. Is this big? That's it. Very simple, right? Very easy to turn a normal equational sentence, nominal sentence, just add a in the beginning and turns into a question. Simple as that. Yes.
There's no like ramp up at the end. Like in English.
In Arabic, the accent, I mean, it's probably different from cultural to culture, but it's like hadha kitabun, right? You can add that for kind of emphasis or something like that. It really depends on, it kind of depends on whether you're asking a question or you're asking a question out of surprise or shock or something like that. It changes the tone of voice. So yeah, don't worry too much about the tone of voice. You'll naturally pick it up. I was just giving that more as half comedy, half trying to make you understand what it is, all right? So don't worry about the style of asking. The interrogative particle. So another way to ask a question is to use the word hal. Hal, with the sukoon on the lam. Hal. Right? So what do? Hal works exactly the same way as except with one little exception, and that is whenever you have a sentence that begins with al, don't put before al. It just makes it easier to pronounce. So if you ever see al, use hal. If you see an al, use hal, don't use because if you used if you wanted to say, like let's say al-kitabu saghirun. What does al-kitabu saghirun mean? The book is small. Al-kitabu saghirun. So if you wanted to ask a question, is the book small? There's two ways to say it, right? One is al-kitabu saghirun, and the other one is hal al-kitabu saghirun. But the problem is al is like too much So the Arabs, they say we don't like to use before al. It's not wrong to do it, but it's really not recommended in Arabic. So try not to use before al. That's the only little difference between and hal. So hal haza kitabun, haza kitabun, exactly the same meaning. So you can ask a question two ways. You can say haza qalamun, or you can say hal haza qalamun. So same question, same meaning, no difference. The only thing is you tend to not use before al. You use hal instead. Okay? That's the second way to ask a question. There's one more thing. So there is this rule which you want to keep in mind, and that is whenever two sukoons, remember what a sukoon is? That little round thing on the vowel, without a vowel. There's no vowel, you put a little round thing. Whenever you see two sukoons in a row, this is just a rule. You have to just put this rule in your head. Whenever you see two sukoons in a row, the first sukoon usually changes into a kasra whenever you're pronouncing it. So let's take a look at that. Look at this very carefully. Follow along. Don't look over here while my cursor is over here. Okay? So follow over here. Hal. You see that sukoon there? Okay. There's a sukoon. Al-kitabu. There's a sukoon on the lam as well, right? And because this alif is in the middle of a word, there's something before it, right? We're not going to take it into consideration. So there's a sukoon on the lam here. This little sukoon here and this sukoon here means that there are two sukoons in a row. So whenever you see two sukoons in a row, one here and one here on the lam for al-kitab, right? What happens? The first sukoon, this one over here, usually changes to a kasra, and that's exactly what happens. So this sukoon, sukoon number one, sukoon number two. Because there's two of them, what happens to number one? It changes into a kasra. That is a kasra there. That's why I underlined it. So instead of saying hal al-kitabu jadidun, you say halil kitabu jadidun. Halil kitabu jadidun. Which means, is the book new? Al-kitabu jadidun means the book is new. Halil kitabu jadidun means, is the book new? Can you say al-kitabu jadidun? It's not recommended, right? Because the al before doesn't come before al. You're going to use hal. But when you use hal and there's a al following along, you have to take this sukoon here, and turn this one into a kasra. Halil kitabu jadidun. Right? So let's take a few examples. So how do you say the book is old? The book is old. Al-kitabu qadimun. The book is old. Al-kitabu qadimun. Right? How do you ask a question and say, is the book old? Halil kitabu qadimun. Good. How do you ask the question, is the boy short? Halil waladu short. Qasirun. Qasirun. Okay. How do you ask, is the student new? Just think about it for a few moments. Okay. Who said Halil talibu jadidun? Okay. You're close, but you forgot one rule. And that is exactly the mistake that the UCLA MSA did. Right? And the UCI MSA, they called their magazine Al-Kalima. And they just got lucky that they had a kaf instead, so they couldn't mess up that rule. Right? So, Halil, can you say Halil talibu? You have to make it in shadda. So instead of saying Halil talibu, say Halil talibu. You say at-talibu, Halil talibu. Halil talibu, new. Jadidun. Okay? Let me show you that in writing. So, you want to say is, so you write hal. You want to say the student. How do you say the student? And you want to say new. Okay. Now we got to figure out the vowels to put on here. So, hal, this would normally have a sukoon. But, at-talib, this has a sukoon. Two sukoons in a row, there's a problem. Remove this and change it to a kasra. Here, al-talib actually becomes a shadda here. Yes. So you get halit talibu, halit talibu jati, that's a sukun, dun. Halit talibu jadidun. Is the student new? If you remove hal, at-talibu jadidun, the student is new. Exactly. Okay. Okay. So hopefully we got that down. Just one rule. Remember, two sukoons in a row, the first one usually gets changed to a kasra. With few exceptions, and I'll explain those exceptions to you as we go along. Okay? So, let's practice. Write the following sentences as questions, either by adding a or hal. Make sure to write out all of the vowels and translate your answer into English. Now, try to vary it and use a one time, hal one time, a one time. Don't just put all the hals across the board. You're not practicing then, right? So just do a little variation there. But remember, don't use a before al, which you don't have to worry about here because there is no al. So just vary it. Do like 3. Who needs more time? Just the first three, okay?
Excuse me, I have two questions.
Yes.
I'm confused why did we use R should work for all of these.
Yeah.
It's an attribute.
For variety. Use hal for use hal for variety. Yes.
Also, the key, answer key, you didn't put the last five answers.
Oh. Can you email that to me?
1, 2, 3, 4.
The last, okay, 2.5, not an answer.
What have we done?
Okay, I'll put it inshallah.
Yeah, 2.5, 11 plus 13, 14. 11 is the key on this one.
Okay, let's take a look at these. So, number 1. Who would like to volunteer what they wrote down? Yes. Louder, please. أهذا والد or waladun? Waladun. Yeah. أهذا waladun, which means, is that a boy? You want to change your answer? هذا. Not ذلك. Is this a boy? Good. Is this a boy? هل هذا ولد. What's the second way of saying the same sentence? هل هذا ولد. Good. Number 2. Who would like to share their answer? Yes. هل هذا باب. Which means? What is it? Is this a door? Good. And another way to write it would be هذا باب. Good. Number 3. Would like to share? Yes. أهذا أستاذ, which means, is this a teacher? Good. Or you could say هل هذا أستاذ, same thing, is this a teacher? Very good. All right, so the rest will be homework, and you can check your answers on the answer key, which is already uploaded. Now we learn yes and no, which is really easy. So the words yes and no, simply use them to answer the question. There's no grammar involved, there's no tanweens, nothing. So you look at the question, أهذا كتاب. Is this a book? Say نعم, yes. Simple. Right? For لا, هل هذا بيت? You can say لا, or you can say لا, put a comma, and then give the correct answer. So هل هذا بيت? Is this a house? لا. هذا مسجد. No, this is a mosque. So if somebody walks in here and they start asking, hey, هل هذا بيت? Say لا, هذا مسجد. Right? Because this is a mosque, right? This is not a house. It's a house of Allah, of course, but this is the mosque. So this is the way to use na'am and la. It's actually very straightforward. So if I ask you some questions, هل هذا قلم? نعم. Okay. هل هذا قلم؟ لا. هذا telephone. Don't use words you don't know, just say it in English. هذا telephone. Right? Telephone. A telephone. Good. هذا ماء؟ نعم. Right? Let's see. هذا ولد؟ لا. هذا watch. Exactly. Yes. All right. Good. All right. Actually, hajarun If you know what this is, هذا حجر. It's actually a pebble watch, in case you didn't know what that was. All right. Let's move on. So we got yes, we got no. Very simple. Let's try to answer some questions in Arabic by looking at these funny-looking clip art pictures from Google Images. So exercise 2.6. Read the question out loud to yourself. Then you look at the picture and you answer the question in Arabic with yes or no. But if it's no, you have to write the correct answer. Otherwise, you just be like la, and I'm done. No, la, and then you write the right answer. Okay, so remember, if you see this question like let's say number 5, which you're not going to be doing, azalika masjidun. So you have to be able to read the question yourself without the vowels there. So read it correctly. Azalika masjidun, right? And you got a picture there. So the picture, what does that look like to you? Looks like a house to you? That must be some house, man. No, that's a masjid. That's a picture of a masjid, right? So you write na'am. Okay. You write na'am. That's it. Let's say it wasn't. You would write la. And then you'd have to write zalika. Don't write hadha, because somebody asked you zalika, you don't start answering with hadha. If they ask you zalika, you answer zalika. If they ask you hadha, you answer hadha. Right? That's it. So do the first 3. Who needs more time? Okay, let's take a look. Number 1. Who would like to read the question and answer it? Okay, only one hand please, not too many at one time. Yes, bismillah.
هذا بيت
هذا بيت.
لا هذا طالب
لا هذا طالب. Good. لا هذا طالب. Excellent. Number 2. Yes. أذلك ماء؟ لا ذلك بيت. Who disagrees? Good, you shouldn't, because it's correct. Number 3. Who would like to do number 3? Yes. هذا رجل. Yes. نعم. نعم. هذا رجل. Very good. Excellent. All right, so that's it. These first 5. These are 5 more for your homework enjoyment. And we move on. We learn the and conjunction. So a conjunction is something which strings together 2 ideas. And one of the conjunctions we're going to learn connects 2 ideas together. We're going to learn and. So a conjunction can also connect 2 words, or it can connect 2 sentences. So understand the difference between connecting 2 words and 2 sentences. I'll show you examples of both. Here's example. هذا قلم وكتاب. This is a pen and a book. This is a pen and a book. So wa just means and. Right? So if you said هذا قلم, it would mean this is a pen. Say هذا قلم وكتاب. This is a pen and a book. How do you know a book? Because it's got a tanween. Kitabun, a book. So this is a pen and a book. How would you say this is a pen and a student? هذا قلم وطالب. Okay. How do you say this is a mosque and a house? هذا مسجد وبيت. That's it. Very simple, right? Now there's another way to make. So what you did was you strung together 2 words. قلم وكتاب. They're each words, and you put a wa in between, and you got them together. You put the and in between. Now what you do is you take 2 sentences and you connect them together. So you say هذا بيت وذلك كتاب. Notice هذا بيت by itself is a sentence. What does هذا بيت mean? This is a house. ذلك كتاب means this is a book. So you put a wa in there and you get هذا بيت وذلك كتاب. This is a house and that is a book. So you got 2 sentences connected together, and in order to make 1 sentence. Right. So how would you say this is a man and that is a boy? هذا رجل وذلك ولد. Exactly. Right? Pretty simple, right? Okay, so that's all we got. And we got some practice for you. 2.7. Combine the sentences together using the conjunction and, making sure to write out all of the vowels. So what you got here is you actually got 2 sentences. Sentence, sentence. 2. Actually here you have 3. Here you have 2. And here you have 2 as well. So you combine them all together with the word wa is and then you translate it. Now let me tell you one thing about number 3. Number 3 has 3 components, right? You're going to add a wa after this and a wa after this. So you're going to add a wa 2 times. But in English, when you want to say something is, if you want to say this is a pen and a book and a student and a teacher and a boy, is that how you say it in English? No, put a list of commas and you say this is a boy, comma, student, comma, teacher, comma, and a pen, right? So you do that, but in Arabic, at least in classical Arabic, the way it's always been, is you put an and between everything in the list. So this is the convention that we're going to follow because this is the way it's used. So put an and before everything. But when you translate into English, you want to translate into correct English, right? So you're going to make it back into your normal English string of commas and only one and at the end. And that's in your notes as well, okay? Yes. For these ones, no, because they're complete sentences, you keep the hazas, keep them as well. Okay. All right. So do first 3. Inshallah. Yes. There is no space between the wow and the following thing that it connects to. Because remember, the principle is whenever it's a 1-letter word, it connects to the next thing. So don't put a space after the wow. Yes. The whole thing actually ends up becoming a question, but you only write the interrogative particle once in the beginning. Who needs more time? Okay, let's take a look at these. So number one, who would like to share their number one? Yes. Okay, two answers.
هذا ولد وهذا رجل.
Haza waladun wa haza rajulun.
Second one,
What's your translation of that?
this is a boy and that's the man.
This is a boy and this is a man. Okay, what's your second answer?
هذا ولد ورجل.
Haza waladun wa rajulun. She just dropped the other hamza. The other haza. They're both correct. They're both fine. Okay. So either one will work. Even though we said combine the sentences, you can take out the first haza and you get a right answer. Good. Number two. Who would like to share their number two? In the back. Sure, in the back. Yes. Yeah. No, you. Straight. Yes, straight. Masjid. Dun. Did you say dun? Yes, okay. ذَلِكَ بَابٌ وَهَذَا مَسْجِدٌ. And what does that mean? That is the door and this is a mosque. Anyone disagree? That's correct. Okay, that's correct. Number three. Who would like to go with number three? Yes. Good. هذا أستاذ وهذا قلم وذلك كتاب. And what does that mean? So I heard and this is a pen. So this is a teacher and this is a pen and that is a book. Is that correct English? That's correct. It's yeah. Yes. This is a teacher. A pen and that is a book. But you missed the this in pen. Because you have to say this is a pen as well. Because you know it could be that pen. So try it again. You almost got it. It's like almost there. This is a teacher, comma. This is a pen, comma. Where's the end? And that is a book. Exactly. وَذَلِكَ كِتَابٌ. So there's always was in there, but when you translate it, there's only one English end. But in Arabic, there's two was. That's just the difference between the two languages. So I want you to get out of the mentality of translating literally. I want you to think in Arabic and then think back in English. Two like different things you have in your mind. Because once you start translating literally, you're going to mess yourself up. Trust me, this is the way I learned Arabic and it messes you up. So you start translating everything literally when it's not supposed to be literal. And then you don't want to do that. Alright, so just keep that in mind. Because then you're going to think, you know what? the pen is light. Now, you don't know the word light. Are you talking about like light like in the ceiling? Or are you talking about light like in weight? So if you just think literally, you can't translate properly because you're thinking the word nur or the word khafif. You don't know which one. But if you start thinking in Arabic as a concept, as an abstract, and you're thinking, I have the picture or the feeling of weight in my mind, it's khafif. If you have the feeling or the picture of like, light emitting from bulbs or something like that, then you have the idea of the word nur. So it's going to help you a lot if you start thinking that way. So I want to get you used to that, okay? Because trust me, I struggle with that. So hopefully you don't have to struggle with that. Inshallah, good. That's the end. Let's do 2.8. Now we're going to tie some stuff together. Read the sentences, and you write them out, and you translate them into English. So all you're doing is you're reading them, and you're translating them. And look how long the sentences are getting. You're actually writing an entire line now, and it's only your third day of class. Isn't that cool? It's hard, but it's cool. All right, so do the first three. Yes. No, write it down. Yeah, write down the translation. Otherwise, you'll think you got it. You got to check back and make sure you did. And don't forget to write down the vowels. So you're supposed to rewrite this and practice writing down the vowels to see if you got it down or not. So if you wrote down hadha rajulu, you got it wrong. Just a little hint. You put hadha rajulu? It's all right. And if you put hadha rajul, it's also wrong. Who's still working on number 2? Number 2? Okay. Okay, let's review. So number 1, who would like to share their answer? If I offer money, will that help? I'm not gonna offer money. Someone who's not volunteered before, yes, it's the laptop, yes. هذا رجل وأستاذ. نعم. Good. So what does that mean? Is this a man and a teacher? Yes. Very good. Number 2. Who would like to do number 2? The new combatants. Okay. Bismillah. هل ذلك بيت وهذا مسجد؟ لا هذا بيت وذلك مسجد. Good. What's the translation? Is that a house and is this a mosque, masjid? No. This is a house and that is a masjid. Very good. Number 3. We have a challenger. Okay, Bismillah. No, number 3. Hal. Wait, say it louder. Hal qalamu. Hal qalamu صغير والكتاب كبير. لا الكتاب طويل والقلم قصير. Okay, so who disagrees with that? Okay, who would like to make a correction there? Go ahead. Yes. Yeah, the first part should have been halil qalamu. Good. So everything else was right except the beginning. Halil qalamu. So what is the translation of that? Give us the translation. Is the pen small and the book big? No. The book is tall. Or it could be long. It could be a tall book, perhaps. Or the book is long. And the pen is short. Right? The pen is short. Good. That's a pretty long sentence, right?
Can you put small and big instead?
No. Tawil, there's a difference between big and tall, or long, right? The difference between short and small. So it's better to be more precise. All right, so that's the end conjunction. That's what we have right there. Now we're going to try to translate from English into Arabic. Now this is obviously tougher, but you're actually making sentences. Right? If you combine this all, you can actually write, you've written an entire paragraph if you make all of this into one paragraph. So this will be what you try after the prayer, inshallah. So you can start now if you want. The prayer is in 5 minutes. You can take a break, you can get some coffee, come back and we do this. Okay? All right. Assalamu alaikum.
استقيم رحمه الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما المشركون نجس فلا يقربوا المسجد الحرام بعد عامهم هذا وإن خفتم عيلة فسوف يغنيكم الله من فضله إن شاء إن الله عليم حكيم قاتلوا الذين لا يؤمنون بالله ولا باليوم الآخر ولا يحرمون ما حرم الله ورسوله ولا يدينون دين الحق من الذين أوتوا الكتاب حتى يعطوا الجزية عن يد وهم صاغرون وقالت اليهود عزير ابن الله وقالت النصارى المسيح ابن الله ذلك قولهم بأفواههم يضاهئون قول الذين كفروا من قبل قاتلهم الله أنى يؤفكون اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله والمسيح ابن مريم وما إلها واحدا لا إله إلا هو سبحانه عما يشركون يريدون أن يطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم ويأبى الله إلا أن يتم نوره ولو كره الكافرون هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن كثيرا من الأحبار والرهبان ليأكلون أموال الناس بالباطل ويصدون عن سبيل الله والذين يكنزون الذهب والفضة ولا ينفقونها في سبيل الله فبشرهم بعذاب أليم يوم يحمى عليها في نار جهنم فتكوى بها جباههم وجنوبهم وظهورهم هذا ما كنزتم لأنفسكم فذوقوا ما كنتم تكنزون سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر
So for the first three, who needs more time? Yes. Okay. So, now who finished all five? Okay. Then there should not be any other talking going on, right? Finish the rest, inshallah. If you're done with three, just finish five. Who needs more time for the three? Quite a few people. Okay. Just do the rest of your homework actually today. You have no homework at home then. Come to classwork, inshallah. Choose when I want to work and how much. Okay, shall we take a look at some of these? Who would like to share number 1? Okay, go ahead. Is the mosque far and the house near? No, the mosque is near and the house is far. هل هذا المسجد بعيد والبيت قريب؟ لا المسجد قريب والبيت بعيد. Does anyone disagree with that answer? Yes, we have a few people. What do you disagree with? Yeah.
I'm not sure that it should be
A what?
I'm not sure if it should be
A tun? A tanween at the end of bait? Al-baytu. No, there was no tanween at the end of bait. So she said wal baytu qaribun and wal baytu ba'idun. So there was no tanween. There was no tanween. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah. No. Yeah. So she said hal hadha, but there's no this, right? Is the mosque, not this mosque. So what should it be? What should it be? Halil Masjid. Very good. Halil Masjid. Good. Number 2. Yes. Ahaza Muslimu mun? Yeah. Ahaza Muslimun wa dhalika ustazun. La haza kafirun wa dhalika talibun. Is that what you said? Anyone disagree with that? No. Okay, so that's correct. Number 3. Who would like to do number 3? Go ahead. Oh, question, yes. Is that a normal way to translate disbeliever? Kafir? And Muslim is Muslim? Yeah, even people of the book, yeah. There's a whole PR aspect to this, being politically correct and public relations and all that. But even people of the book, they're a subsection of the category of kafir. So yeah, they're still considered disbelievers. So kafir is the translation of disbeliever. Okay? Yes. So who's doing number 3? You have a question on that? Yes. When I said what? Halil? Oh, Halil. Oh, Halil. What was the question? Oh, do we write it as a kasra? Yeah, so when you're writing hal and then the al, Halil, you actually write it as a kasra. You do write it as a kasra so that I can tell that you knew what you were doing. Otherwise, no one's there to listen. So on your test, you have to write a kasra. Halil. Yeah. Okay. You want to do number 3? No. How does it work? Yes. So here it is right here actually. Halil. So you put the kasra on the lam and you remove the sukun. There's no sukun anymore. Halil talibu. Halil masjidu. Halil baytu. So she was just asking, do you put a kasra on it? Yes, you put a kasra on it when there's al. And when there's no al, it's going to be a sukun, no kasra. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. If you're using the alif, there's no problem except you don't use alif before al. Yes. Any other questions? Okay, back to my question then. Who's going to do number 3? Yes, Bismillah, number 3. هل القلم صغير والكتاب Okay, good correction. هل القلم ثقيل والكتاب ضعيف. Keep going. لا. القلم ضعيف والكتاب ثقيل. Okay, I heard a la somewhere over here, which means that someone's disagreeing with you. Does everyone agree? Say la if you disagree. Okay, so who would like to clarify your la? What was the issue? Huh? So raise your hand. Raise your hand. And I'll call you. Yes. Yeah.
هل القلم ثقيل والكتاب خفيف.
هل القلم ثقيل والكتاب خفيف. So the word for light is خفيف. Put ضعيف. So it's خفيف. Alright, so good, exactly. So we just need to change the word from da'if to khafif and we're good. Alright, and let's see what's next. There comes that footnote. So where does that footnote apply? In number 4. There's more than 3. Right? That's it. So vocab review. Let's do a quick vocab review. Let's do this out loud. Small, صغير, big, كبير, long, طويل, river, نهر, rock, حجر, man, رجل, that, ذلك, far, بعيد, pen, قلم, this, هذا, short, قصير, new, جديد, what, ما, strong, قوي, no, لا, near, قريب, heavy, ثقيل, moon, قمر, boy, ولد, student, طالب, house, بيت, who, man, Muslim, water, ma, yes, نعم, old, قديم, end, wa, book, kitab, mosque, masjid, is or are, or hal, light, khafif, weak, da'if, mountain, jabal, door, bab, teacher, ustad, unbeliever, kafir. Okay, so these are all the vocab. So make sure you review them. Why do I make this list? Not because I have extra time on my hands. I make this list because I know that 80% of you will not make this list and practice your vocab. So by making this list, at least 50% of you will now look at the list and practice your vocab and feel sorry that I actually took time out to make this table for you. So please review your vocabulary. Don't forget it. It's very, very important. You're going to keep on building 15 or more words every class. So you have to get it down. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for you. And we are done for today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
I started printing there, and on the other side I started printing my lines.
Okay. Did you upload this, by the way?
I could not upload it.
Why not?
I don't know, I tried it.
You wanted to